Oh, what's going on?
Oh, hey.
Here we go.
We're
Okay,
here.
so
We're here.
hello again, friends. We're back to talk to you today about something more imminent, relevant, pertinent, and since nobody's on, we're not talking to nobody yet. But that's okay. We'll talk today. Okay, do you need to share it on your
Oh, yeah.
thing? So we'll go ahead and give it a minute. Shelly Giles Jones. Hello, Shelly. How are you? Gwen Holder. Hello, Gwen. How are you? Hopefully your family's doing well. I don't know why I'm singing. I'm happy.
Hello there, everybody.
Hey, Gwen. How you doing? Shelly, how are you? I hope you're doing well. Asia, what's going on?
Asia.
Ooh, what's going on? Tell me what's
Where
going
are you?
on.
Sorry, I'm trying to share
What's
this.
going on?
Okay, here we go.
Ooh. So,
Ho-ho.
we're coming on today with some news that is pretty serious, but we're hoping to keep it nice and lighthearted to really show how lighthearted we are in this time of really crazy happenings. Jen, do you want to pray really quick?
No, I want you to pray. I want you to pray.
Okay, I'll pray. I'll make
Okay.
this quick. Father, thank you so much for this beautiful Sunday morning. I appreciate your insight and your mercy and your wisdom, and I ask for a special governor and a special anointing, if you will, I don't know, on just how I share and what we talk about today. And I ask for everyone in the sound of my voice to find peace and joy in this time of uncertainty. And it's in your Yeshua's name I pray. Amen. Okay.
Amen.
Benton, what's good? Luke, what's good? Rebecca, how you doing? Asia, let's get to it. So, over the last several days, we've been studying a lot about this coronavirus issue. If any of y'all have ever talked to my wife or myself in the last 5 years, you will know that we do not think regular. Erica Shaflut, so Gillette, how are you? I haven't seen you since high school. I hope you're doing well. Today we're here talking about coronavirus, and I'm going to try to stick to the topic, and Jen, help me.
Yeah, I will.
Okay. And also keep our eye on the people who join and the people who comment and ask questions, because
Yeah.
I do want to acknowledge them.
Yeah, for sure.
So, over the last few days, it has come to our attention that some pretty significant accelerations, I believe, are about to happen with regard to the weirdness of what's happening in this world. And it's for a reason other than the media at large are being truthful about. And that's going to affect people who I love and care about. So we're here to share what we've just learned. For protection of the individuals who shared some of this information with us, we will not be giving the names of the people and places that we've learned some of what we know. You'll just have to take our word for it. We wouldn't have bothered getting on Facebook and sticking our neck out here like this if we didn't really believe it from the levels of people who we happen to know here in Los Angeles and back east where I'm from, and overseas, and just in other places. So with that said, we have it on a pretty strong hunch that's pretty strong that we're about to see a period of what's known as martial law, and a kind of national lockdown be implemented real soon, and maybe as soon as today, the 22nd of March. Maybe not, hopefully not, but maybe. So if you have the position to obtain, that's the word I'm looking for, obtain food, water, toilet paper, protection, feminine products, baby products, anything you think you might need, medicines, things like that, for a period of anywhere from 7 to 30 days. I would probably bank on the 30 days, if not more. Mark, then do that, because I think this is America that I'm speaking, the information that I was received from. So any of my people who I know internationally, I don't know if the same is true for you where you live, but maybe not, but maybe. So with that said, our aim is not to alarm anyone. I always tell people that with more information and more understanding, everyone would make the best decision. If everybody had all the right data to know how to choose between A or B or what to do in a situation, they would almost always make the right decision. Anthony, what's up? So with that said, the first thing that we wanted to share is there's going to be some changes that happen, I think, pretty quick. If not today, then not that far away. And it will behoove you to be ready to basically be stuck in where you at for the next month, and maybe longer, and maybe not that long. So the people who informed us are definitely in the know. Some of them, I'm moving the camera, sorry. Some of them related to parts of government and military and, intelligence, and we can't get into too many details on Facebook Live, but enough for us to be like, okay, we need to talk to people about this. So with that said, that's coming down the pipe. The next big thing that I want to the next bullet point on the list that I want to disclose as to what we found out is that the scare is very different than the virus itself, like what we know about, or what we know / what we think we know about the virus itself is very different from the way the media is suggesting. Mm-hmm. And why this is where it gets interesting, because when I first found out about this, I'm someone, in case you don't know this about me, I don't watch the news, I don't watch TV. We work in TV. We got songs on TV shows. We'll watch that one episode and be like, oh yeah, that was my song. Thank you for the check. And then we never watch it again, because we get to see it here close enough, and we know it's fake. So I'm sorry if that comes as a surprise to you, but everything on TV, especially the news, is scripted. With that said, there are reasons that might be complex to explain in a succinct way as to how this can work. But just trust me, if you ever knew me, if you ever knew Jennifer, trust the heart that you knew then and the wisdom that you knew in that individual whenever we knew each other, to know that it's connected. It is. It really does. The math checks out. And because of that, we have to assume we're further into this than it might seem at the moment. And I guess what I mean by that is, I'll just explain it how it happened to us. So we never watched the news. I was traveling for work about 3 weeks ago now, mm-hmm. and it got brought someone who has some military connections that California is about to go into a state of declare national emergency about the coronavirus issue. It's like, really? I mean, I heard about this thing. It's like, is it that big of a deal? I don't know nobody with corona. Anybody heard about anybody with some corona? Nobody? Okay, well, if y'all say so, sure. A national emergency. And it was at that time that I started investigating, okay, what's really going on here? Some of that I spoke about in the first podcast that we did, chapter 1. I spoke a little bit more on it in chapter 3. But truth be told, we've just learned that things aren't as they appear. The first thing that you have to know is the official numbers. So everybody's got a different take on the numbers. When I started doing this research, I called a lot of my friends to just warn them about the resource shortage that I saw on the horizon. And all of them, I'd say maybe 15 people. And almost all of them answered my question, because I always started the question like this: hey, I'm calling because I want to catch what you think is going on with this whole coronavirus thing. And I would listen to the way that they explain what they thought of it, up to that point. And almost all of them said, hey, I'm not really that worried about it. We've had Zika, Ebola, SARS, H1N1 bird flu, swine flu. It's like the media lies and we all know it. And they just try to get something out of people. And so I'm not really that worried about coronavirus. And I said, I thought the same way until just a few days ago. And then I changed my mind on why. And my issue at the time was really with a secondary problem I was seeing brew unrelated to the virus. But I then realized America is pretty much split down the middle with two camps. One camp that's taking this very, very, very not seriously and thinking, whatever, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I'm going to get out. I'm going to skate and do what I got to do. Who cares? Social distancing, that's just like a buzzword. Who cares? And they're pretty much proceeding with business as usual. There's another camp of people that say, listen, we got to take this seriously. Like, this isn't cool. People need to really, do their part to make sure that this disease doesn't become a real issue, because there's factors of my life that are being affected by it that I'm not comfortable with and that I don't appreciate that you're not taking serious. And those are the two sides, for the most part, of everybody that I've spoken to or really even seen online. I stand on a third side, and Jennifer stands at a third angle based on the count on one hand amount of people we've talked to that are in some insanely weirdly connected places that tell me this isn't what's happening here is a marketing thing at this phase. It's a double phase thing. It's not all just one endeavor.
It's the baby.
It's the baby. Okay. The trick is multi-layered. I'm aware that I can't say, any and everything on this platform. So, I'll use wisdom with that. But what we're dealing with now is a systemic effort to affect the economic landscape of this entire world and institute a solution economic plan that has been a long time in the making, and frankly is going to sound very enticing when it shows up, but it will be a setup. And the virus is being used as a smokescreen for that end. Because, I don't know, a lot of people under the sound of my voice probably are small business owners or work for businesses that are medium-sized or large-sized or small, and work within a construct of something that sits below the level of a conglomerate like an Amazon, an Apple, or a Google or something like that, but then above, being broke and not having a job. Somewhere in the middle. And that whole category of worker, I believe, is what is in the crosshairs of the target with what's happening right now. At the same time, there's a whole technological thing happening with cellular technology and the ability to perform. It's going to sound wacky, but I'm just using this buzzword to make it simple what I mean. Electromagnetic alchemy, the ability to transmute and translate human, I won't say human cells, but just like oxygen cells and iodine cells and important elements that are a part of our physiology that will end up being a tool for enslavement and torture and punishment and all kinds of bad things that people don't even see coming because they don't know nothing about how that technology works. That was what I studied. I was a computer science major when I first started school. I used to be a nerd of nerds as a child. All the people who know me from back home can vouch. I got LASIK. That's why my eyes look. That's why I'm not wearing glasses, because I shed the nerd evidence, but I'm still a nerd at heart. And I spent a lot of time learning about how electromagnetics connect at a very small section of the Venn diagram with physics and chemistry, in particular biochemistry, because subatomically everybody's just water and elements and magnetism held together. And some people know this and some people don't. So the ones that do are using it to take advantage of the ones that don't. And that's happening at the same time as an economic structure is being purposefully destabilized while using I'm going to put a pin at this, like a divider in this section, because I'm going to come back to what I was saying. But people, first and foremost, need to understand what a virus is, how a virus works. A lot of wisdom and peace will come when you simply learn what you're actually fighting. I'm not an expert on it. I don't know everything about it, but I took an afternoon and read up and listened up. And I'm not an expert now. I've done more than just that one afternoon's worth of research on it, but you get a better context for what's happening when you know the inner workings of the subject that you're really afraid of or dealing with. In this case, coronavirus. Coronavirus is an umbrella term for multiple types of viruses. Hey, Amanda. Hey, T-Lynn. I am talking about the 5G link with vaccines, T-Lynn, but we'll get to the nitty gritty of that when I come back around, because you're right, but I'm not talking about that just right now. Talking about viruses. Coronavirus is an umbrella term for a collection of multiple types of viruses that have existed for a very long time and have constantly been, on average, affecting humans in the upper respiratory style of symptom for a long time. And if you look at the back of your handy Lysol can or your Clorox wipes, you'll see it'll say kills E. coli, salmonella, rotavirus, human coronavirus. It's been there. What we're dealing with now is a different strain, but a strain that has no real boogeyman powers than the rest of the strains. And because of that, I'm trying to collect what I'm saying into a succinct way. I'm working on it, you guys. I ramble a lot. Please forgive me if I've been rambling. What's happening here is the official numbers of the World Health Organization as of March 18th, so that was 4 days ago. Maybe they've doubled, but it won't matter. It was 202,000. I feel like it was 211. I'd have to go back and look, but 202,000 something confirmed cases of coronavirus worldwide. COVID-19 coronavirus, that specific one, and 6,500 deaths. Now, there's 7.3-ish billion people in the world. And if you divide 202,000 by 7.3 billion, you get a number like 0.00002 something percent. That's a very small number, and yes, it could rise. Let's just say it's double. It would be 0.00001% or 4%. And then, you do the math. But that level of infection, that level of a rate of the amount of people that have just contracted it, because that's not even divisible by the death. That's just the people that contracted it. Has never in history warranted the level of response that has actually happened as a result of a pandemic. Now, these are their numbers. I didn't make this up. I'm just pointing a thing out that hopefully you'll follow up and look into, because I don't want people who listen to me to just take my word for any of this stuff. I've done a lot of the research, so I can definitely point you in the direction of some of the stuff if you're interested. Or you can believe me if you trust me, and I hope you do, because I do know what I'm talking about. But, do look into this, because I feel like when you get convicted about a thing is when it latches and when you can go help your family and your neighbors find peace and find some solace in this time when you understand and you overstand that what's happening here is, in this phase, at this moment, a simple test that took on a whole steam and flame of excess and got to a point of a further point than the perpetrators even imagined that it would, because of how receptive people were to the propaganda. That's just the way it was, and I hope that doesn't offend anybody. I don't mean to be offensive. I do take this very seriously, but I also know some other people who take it very seriously too, who sit in a position to say that's not what's happening. We're seeing something else happen, and coronavirus is what's taking the front and center stage. I'm on Instagram. I hop on Facebook. If you're on Instagram, that's where I'm at most of the time. Facebook's cool, but it just got too much going on. So I like live streaming on Facebook. Author Thomas, well, it's good. He just said, I'm starting not to believe that this originated from someone eating a bat in Wuhan, China. And T. Lynn says, I find it interesting that corona means sun or leak to sun rays, and the rulers of this earth worship the sun god. I find that interesting too, T. Lynn. I also find that interesting, author, because that's exactly the case. It did not start from... I can't even begin to get into the story of what's really going on. What I will tell you to help you in the condensed way that I can do is share that we're being played, you guys. We're being played. And I'm hoping that my friends, I don't want anybody who hears my voice to ever be played. I want us to succeed and thrive and create and show love. We're being played by people who don't have love and who don't have consciences for the most part. And I'm really thirsty, so I'm going to drink some water here. But that is what's happening. And I just don't want my friends to bear a lot of